And he is joining us, Nick Wright, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing, via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network. He's the co-host of First Things First. So I didn't talk to you about the MJ Isiah stuff, so let me restate it. My takeaway is, if Michael Jordan said, I'm not playing with Isiah Thomas, my takeaway is LeBron James said, I'm not playing with half my roster, and the Lakers in a salary cap league moved players. I mean, what do I care? If the star doesn't want somebody around, I got no. It was a 3-week sojourn to Europe. Buses, dinners, lunches together. So let's start with that. Let me guess. You think Michael Jordan's a bad guy for not wanting to play with grumpy Isiah Thomas?
No. Not a bad guy at all. Just a liar. Like, he can be a fine guy, but he lied about it. This was the weird thing, and this is what is so concerning for me as we further venture into this post-fact universe that we all have to live in now. We all knew what he had said. We all knew he said he wouldn't play if Isiah would play. And the fact that he stared into that camera with his tumbler of tequila and bloodshot eyes and cigar and said, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Senator. Like, I couldn't believe it. We all knew it. And then, because again, we live in this post-fact world, we had a lot of people who should know better, whose response was, see, Jordan never said it. You know how I know it? Because he just told me he never said it. A lot of people didn't like Isiah, probably because Isiah beat them a hell of a lot more than they beat him. Isiah regularly beat Jordan, had a winning record against Jordan. Jordan loved being the bully, didn't so much love when someone could bully him. We all know people like that. But just own it. Don't 30 years later try to recreate history. So, listen, Isaiah's not perfect, and some people had good reason not to like him. But I don't know why he ran from the truth, especially when he was on tape admitting that truth less than a decade ago to Jack McMullen.
Now, new playoff format is different, but it's got a World Cup feel to it in the first round. First round of the NBA playoffs is ratings aren't good. It's kind of boring. It's total mismatches. I like the new format because my takeaway is this is the year of the asterisk, and if the NBA can start a season and not stop it and crown a champ, it is a massive win for Adam Silver, and he should be celebrated and elevated for the rest of his term. I'm okay with it. It's more fun. It creates urgency. It's different. The NBA's never been rigid. That's just not what they are. Do you like the new kind of soccer-esque World Cup feel in the first round?
No. You know what would also be fun? We could have, in the first round, you could have Alex Caruso go on Anthony Davis's shoulders, and they could play a 2-on-2 match like that. Probably get good ratings. We could do a 3-legged race. Maybe one of those, the spoon in your mouth with an egg on the end of it to determine who gets a bye. There's a lot of fancy, cool things we could do. Might even pull a rating. But they'd be unnecessary, and they would undercut whatever integrity we have left of this regular season. Listen. I understand nothing can be perfect. We are in a pandemic world right now, and changes have to be made. But any of these NBA changes would be superfluous. We know who the 16 playoff teams would be, under 1 through 16 or East, West, each getting 8. It's the same 16 teams. Adding this would just be using the pandemic as an excuse to experiment with something. Like I saw hockey, they're doing a 24-team playoff essentially. They basically have to, as noted hockey expert Nick Wright can explain to you, you have in the Eastern Conference, you have the gap between the 5 seed and the 10 seed is 1 game. So I understand why they said we have to be more inclusive to be fair. The NBA doesn't. We know who the 16 playoff teams would be. To use this calamity as a reason to just try to shake the snow globe seems unreasonable to me, and there's nothing we can do about the fact that what the Bucks and Lakers earned was the number 1 overall seeds and home court advantage, and they won't get the home court advantage. Listen, sorry guys, that happens. But to further minimize what they earned in the regular season seems punitive and unfair to the 2 teams that took this regular season seriously. So no, I just think I don't think you're forced into it, so I don't think you need to do it. Give us our 4 rounds of the playoffs, 7-game series, and let's go.
Let's shift to something. As America's media icon, Joy calls me that, and she's right. I have become the foremost expert on predicting how college quarterbacks will do in the NFL. Some whiff, mostly I'm right. Baker Mayfield, Fox Bet came out, and they listed your starting quarterback and then your backup. And how many points worth are you more? Now, Lamar and Mahomes and Russell and Aaron and Deshaun and Carson Wentz, they're very, very valuable. And then Baker Mayfield is worth my comp when he came into the league, 1.5 points more than Case Keenum. That's it. And as I said, he's Case Keenum with a slightly better arm. Can we now acknowledge that a first-round number 1 pick for Baker was silly? He is capable of winning if you surround him like Case Keenum got a few years ago with a bunch of good players. But you were a little on the Baker thing. I've never been on the Baker thing. Can you acknowledge this may have been a rare opportunity? I nailed it, maybe?
Yeah. All right. So I was more than a little on the Baker thing. In one of the major regrets of my career, I came on this television show 1 year ago, right around this time, and had him ranked ahead of Deshaun Watson as far as players I would want for the future. I would like that one back. And right now, you appear to have nailed this. I am not yet, however. Listen, I don't know as much about stocks as you do, but I'm trying to learn. I don't think you're supposed to sell your stock at its low point. So I'm going to hold on to my remaining Baker Mayfield shares. I understand right now some believe they might be going to zero and that I should get out while I can. I'm going to hold on to them. I'm going to say Freddie Kitchens is gone. I saw the Browns are doing a cool thing. They're going to let a fan call 15 preseason plays, which is a good departure from last year where they let a fan coach the whole team. So it should be good for Baker that he's got a real head coach. Odell should be healthier. Jarvis should be healthier. The most talented player on the team shouldn't bonk anyone on the head with their helmet, and we'll see how they do. But yes, right, if football stopped today, you would be right about Baker Mayfield. I'm looking on a longer time horizon, however, and to see if at some point we can come back around. But yeah, so my long way of saying this might end up being one where Colin, unfortunately, was right.
I want to go to Russell Wilson because I even made the Seattle Times and Seattle Radio. I talked about this last week. Is that the fact that the Cam Newton rumor came out for Russell, the minute it came out for the Steelers, the general manager rushed to the media and said, no, we're not taking Cam, in support of a sensitive Big Ben. He's shown a history of being sensitive. Mm-hmm. When the Cam Newton-Russell Wilson thing came out, crickets. Even though, frankly, it should be noted, and I think this matters a little, Ciara dated Cam and married Russ. It matters. I'm sorry. It does. You have to know that as a GM. It's not good. So my point being, Russell Wilson continues, I believe, in his front office. They don't quite get him. That and the fact he was drafted out of the first, second round, we've always had this thing where he's got to prove it to us. Do you think my stance on he's the least respected great player I can remember in the league is reasonable, and that even suggesting Cam could be a backup was a lousy fit?
Well, I had totally forgotten or was just flatly unaware about Ciara and Cam dating. So that's a great pop culture pull by you, Colin. But in general, yeah, I totally agree. I think he's the second best quarterback in football. I think what we have on the screen right now is Seattle offensive coordinator, that's Brian Schottenheimer. Russell Wilson is the wrong guy to doubt. You know who Brian Schottenheimer should tell that to? Brian Schottenheimer. So maybe he'll stop running these horrible run plays on first and second down and then being like, worst case scenario, I guess we'll have Russell throw it. The Seahawks team has been top 3 in the NFL each of the last 2 years in rushing attempts. They run an offense like Blake Bortles is their quarterback, not like Russell Wilson is their quarterback. So yeah, I agree. He's underappreciated. He's disrespected by the general public and by his own organization that seems to have, I can't remember the old football coach, but the old coach from the 50s, like, 3 things happen when you pass, 2 of them are bad. That seems to be the Seahawks mindset when they go into these football games instead of being like, hey, nobody throws it more than ever than the era we're in right now. We've got the second best quarterback in football. He's never hurt. He's never had a losing record. He rarely turns the ball over. He's a great leader. Why don't we build around him instead of, hey, he needs more help. Carlos Hyde come on down so we have another running back to take the ball away from Russell Wilson.
By the way, it should be noted, you and I are different on Cam. I do appreciate, I think Cam's been very smart. He is putting out videos regularly of him practicing. I think that matters today. It is something I criticized Kaepernick for about a 12-month period where, let me see how much you love football. You can tell me you do. I want to see it. Cam is all over social media, and I think it matters. But why is the market virtually zip bagel for Cam? Nothing. No interest.
I think there's a lot of factors. I think one is it's an unfortunate time as far as given the pandemic, he can't go in to work out with teams and they can see that he's healthy. I think another is you've got, I don't know what the number is, but maybe a quarter to a third of teams in the league that just aren't Cam Newton friendly, so to speak. They think he's too much of a star or polarizing or flamboyant to be the, quote, face of the franchise. I think that works against him. I think the fact that none of the older quarterbacks are retiring, I think that works against him. And I think the fact that for some reason or another, there are certain guys who you just say, well, they get to be backup quarterbacks and nobody will bat an eye. I mean, Joe Flacco has stunk since Obama's first term. He just had neck surgery. He's not going to be healthy. He just said, like, guys, I'm not going to be able to play at the beginning of next year. Don't get that wrong. Jets are like, come on down. Phillip Rivers already taken his job after football. Colts are like $25 million. Come on down. Nick Foles gets traded for. So I don't get it. I don't think it's just football with Cam. I don't think it's ever been just football with Cam. And I would encourage people to watch the playoff game from January of 2018 where Cam Newton with Brenton Burson, Kalen Clay, and Devin Funchess has a game-winning drive to beat the Saints in the Superdome, and Devin Funchess can't catch the touchdown pass with 25 seconds left. And then the first 11 games of the next season before his shoulder got wrecked, when he had a 104 rating and a 70% completion percentage, he broke his foot and he missed last season. I still think he's a top, at the very least, top 18 starter in the NFL, Colin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.